Life is precious, and we all have the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do we account for our opportunities? How do we account for our time? How do we account for our relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers? How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Account for Life podcast. Today, why expectation is critical to be successful. Wow, I think this is going to be pretty deep today in this, over the next 10 minutes. So, man, buckle up. Expectation, why this is so critical to be successful. And as we jump into this today, happy Sunday, guys. It's the beginning of another week. This is a big week for us in our home. Jacob, my son, he leaves this week. So that's going to be very interesting. We're dropping him off at college. So, wow. But at any rate, let's get into expectation. And let's look at what the definition is, and then we'll have a conversation about why it's so important and why it's so critical, and why expectation really is the driving force for just about everything. So let's look. It says a strong belief that something will happen or be the case in the future. A belief that someone will or should achieve something. Let's look a little bit further to see what else people are saying about expectation. Expectation is the act of expecting, of course. We know that's what it is. Feeling good, the feeling that good things are going to happen in the future. I love that. And let's look at one more. An expectation is a belief about what you might, or about what might happen in the future. That is expectation. And here's what's interesting. And so this is something that I discovered over the past couple of years. We all have a superpower of expectation. What? Expectation is a superpower. Expectation is that is in essence everyone's gift. You have the ability, I have the ability to expect everything. Now, here's what's interesting. Most of the time we're expecting what we don't want and we don't realize it. See, I had a question asked yesterday. I was at a men's program and the facilitator asked a question about expectation. His question was simple. It was, as men, what do you expect of yourself? It was interesting because you thinking we all expect something of ourselves, expect to be a provider, we expect to protect, we expect to, to basically, help those around us. We expect a lot of ourselves, or at least we say we expect it. Then the next question was, are you living up to it? Like, can you tangibly say that you're doing the things that you actually expect of yourself? I had to take a moment to think I was like, man, somewhat. Most of us in there I don't think anybody was 100%. I think everybody had a gap between where they would really like to be when it comes to what we expect of ourselves. See, because the expectation, it's not someone telling you, right, this is what you should do. It's you telling you what you should do. And then you expecting, if you expect to, like I expect to take care of my kids. I expect to provide for them. I expect that they shouldn't have to start from scratch. Like I expect that of myself, and I expect that I would provide a way for them so that when they get when they're ready to, to do the things that they would like to do in life, that I've already kind of like provided a path. I'm not doing it for them. I'm just providing a way so that they have options. Right. So expectation, but literally focusing in on this expectation is critical. Because if I'm not focused on what I'm expecting for myself, then you get into all the other expectations now he gave us a number of questions, and these questions on expectation was like, yo, but here's the thing. These aren't conversations that we're having. We're not actually having conversations about these expectations where, we were at a church. So what does the church expect from men? What do the children expect from men? Like, what do our wives expect from us? And what, like, literally all these questions on the expectation. And I think my biggest takeaway of this idea of expectation being critical is accountability, right? It's literally being accountable to what you said, being accountable to how you think, being accountable to the things that surround you, so it's like, well, no one's doing it, we'll do it. It's kind of like, I expected, at the end of the day, the one thing that men, I discovered in this room, we're all leaders. Men are leaders. And so what happens is men, sometimes we have a hard time agreeing. And if I find myself in that particular scenario, if I'm having a hard time agreeing with men, then what that means is if somebody doesn't agree with what I want to do, if somebody doesn't agree with how this works, then I got to go and do it. I have to expect that if I really believe this, that I'll go and do it. And then maybe at that point they can see what it means. See, because look, at the end of the day, we all have a responsibility. We have responsibility as men. And I think I was sharing this with my son, Jared. I was sharing this with him a couple of weeks ago. We were talking, and I gave him a picture of who a man is. I may have spoken about this on the podcast a few times, but it may not have been in a while. So I said, here's what being a man looks like. And so we were driving. I said, you see one of those houses over there? We live in a house. I said, can you see the foundation of the house? And he was just like, no, I can't see it. All right. So the foundation goes in before anything comes, right? The foundation, that means the ground is dug, right? The ground is dug out. And as the ground is dug out and then the foundation gets set, no house can go on top of it until someone makes sure that the foundation is right. So now the foundation is set, house gets built, beautiful. You no longer can see the foundation. I said, men are the foundation. You can't see it. Everything sits on top of the man. So if the foundation is weak, the house is coming down. If the foundation gets compromised, if the foundation of a house gets compromised, the state's going to come out and they're going to condemn the house, say you can't live in this house, right? You can have busted windows, broken doors, no furniture, messed up walls, but you can still live there. But the moment the foundation is compromised, you can't live there anymore. I said, so as a man, we are the foundation of what everything sits on. And maybe some people don't even agree. What are you talking about? The man is the house. No. The man is the foundation. Everything sits on top of the house. The house is beautiful. The thing is, the house is like the woman. The house is like the woman. What's interesting, women have capabilities to do probably a lot more things than men do. The things that we do are foundational. And not saying that we can't all do the same things, but the way that God set it up is he put man at the foundation and then the woman, they need a solid foundation to be on top of so that they can do all the things they need to do, decorate and just make it beautiful. So as we're wrapping this up and we're talking about this expectation, right? Expectation is critical to be successful, because when we ask yourself, man, what do I expect from me? What do I expect from me? Like, what do I expect from me? And so if I'm expecting if Jay Moore is expecting that Jay Moore is going to be a provider, Jay Moore is going to take care of, he's going to take care of his family, that's all. I just got to do it, right? And I have to do it not just on a small level. Do it to where the foundation continues to expand. Like, we continue to grow. See, because when you continue to grow, like, I don't want a little house. Like, think about it. like there's I guess there's new houses that's being built, they call tiny houses. I don't want a tiny house, I want a big house, right? And because I want a big house, and that means I have to put in the right foundation, and I have to expect more of myself, because if the foundation is not set, if I'm not set in who it is I have to be, or who it is I need to become, right, in order for this house to sit on top of me, we can't be successful. So expectation, knowing that, you know what, this is what I expect for myself. This is what I'm going to do for me. This is what I'm going to do for me to help my family. But what if we're not focused? What if we're not accountable to the things that we should be doing? What if we're just spending time allowing ourselves to have a condemned foundation? What if we literally are just living life and thinking that, you know what, well, this part of my life is, guess, woe is me, it's over. No, we have to expect more of ourselves, and we have to focus in on what that expectation is as men, especially as men. So what I realized about expectation is that the more that I expect from myself, the more that I must focus, right? The more that I must focus on what that expectation is. Because if I don't focus on it, if I don't actually live up to the expectation I have for myself, I can't ask anybody else to do anything, right? So expectation is critical. Expectation, as we go back to our definition, expectation is the strong belief that something will happen, or it's something that's going to happen in the future. So guys, what an awesome, incredible day it is. I appreciate you for joining me for this episode of the Account for Life podcast. What's happening, Yinka? Hope helping you to account for your life. God bless. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Thanks for joining us, listening friends. We are so glad you invested this time with us. Always remember, you only have one life to live, so live it to the fullest. This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.